Hi and welcome to today's Long COVID Advent Calendar video. Thank you for joining us. Today's strategy is everyone's probably least favourite, pacing. So I think this is something that probably most people watching this will have come across, and it is really hard to do, unfortunately really important to do. So for those who haven't come across it or anyone who needs a reminder, pacing is a way of managing activity in a way to kind of maximise what we can do, but without bringing on symptoms, fatigue, post-exertional malaise, anything like this. So the idea of it really is to kind of reduce that boom and bust cycle and allow us to have a more consistent level of energy, and ideally to sort of be able to then use that kind of baseline level to be able to work out what we can do. So for example, if you had the floor of your room to hoover one day, it might be a case of doing a third of it and then having a rest, and then doing another third of it, and then having a rest, and then doing the final third, rather than doing the whole thing in a oneer and feeling knackered afterwards. So it's kind of breaking down those tasks in a way that works, interspersing them with rest. If you have 3 days and 3 tasks, do one per day rather than maxing out and doing all of them on one day and then, wiping yourself out for the second 2 days, for example. It's going to be different for everybody because everybody's activity level is different. What people need to do is different. If you have caring responsibilities, for example, if you have to pick up your kids from school, then that is a thing you have to do, unless you've got somebody that can help you out and do it sometimes, which maybe you can. But there are certain things that we have to do. So it's working the other things around them in a way that works. So resting, actually scheduling in rest can be useful. I absolutely sucked at pacing. I just found it impossible because it was like, well, why do I want to not do things? Like, that's not fun. And no, it's not. It's not fun at all. But yeah, in by doing that, we're reducing those boom and bust. It's easy to pace, or easier to pace on a day where we're not feeling good, because it's like, oh, I'm not feeling good, I'm not going to do things, or I'm going to be more careful with my rest, put it in more. Whereas if we have a day where we're feeling better, then we want to do all the things, don't we? If we don't get that many good days, then we sure as hell want to use them. But then what we end up doing is overdoing it and then giving ourselves more bad days. So yeah, the theory being that if we do less on the good days, we will end up with fewer bad days and level out our energy. People use all sorts of things to do this. Some people like to count spoons. Some people have activity trackers. Some people use heart rate based stuff. There are apps available as well that people use. So everyone's kind of strategy will be different. But I think, it's a bit of a trial and error. You'll get it wrong. But hopefully if you do get it wrong, then, maybe next time you'll do better. So yeah, it's not an easy thing to do. I'd love to hear if anyone has any pacing tips. So if you do, please drop them in the comments, because I think, as much as pacing is something that we've all been introduced to through long COVID, through chronic illness, I think it can actually be quite a useful life skill. Actually breaking down bigger activities into smaller activities is something that possibly everybody should do, and allocating time for rest is something that everybody should do. So I think it is actually useful for everybody. So yeah, do let us know if you've got pacing tips, if you've got something you're struggling with and someone else can help, or anything that you think is interesting or useful. We would love to hear from you. Do drop it in the comments, and we will be back tomorrow with another one of our favourite strategies.